What's up, guys? We're over here at El Encanto Country Club. We're gonna go meet Max Keiser. This is gonna be part 2 of our golf cart series.
We're gonna have like $50 billion of Bitcoin, you crackheads. This is the cosmic center of the Bitcoin universe. He is Satoshi Nakamoto. It's okay to reveal that now in 2025.
Mr. Max Keiser, good to see you again.
We're getting ready for the tournament. It's coming up January 10th and 11th. There's Eduardo. Hello, Eduardo. There's Diana. How are you hitting them?
We're practicing right now.
Are you going to win the hole-in-one on 16? You get a whole Bitcoin.
What? Well, we'll be better if those are Bitcoins and not dollars.
Oh yeah, that's dollars. Dollars are the devil's currency. This one's going to work. I know it. I got to extend it out there. There we go. Look at that. Last time I bought balls in the 1970s, I spent maybe $3. These are going for $60. This is what Bitcoin solves now. Wow. I'm going to leave this stuff here. Eduardo, I'll be back in a few minutes.
All right, so we're not gonna break your golf cart this time.
Great. Let's do it. Jump in. So how do you like it, El Salvador, Michael? You've been here now a few months.
El Salvador is an amazing place, an amazing country with amazing people. The whole time I've been here has been just one journey after another in a very rewarding fashion. So yes, El Salvador is the place to be right now if you are a Bitcoiner and you want to have an impact on the world. So thanks for paving the way, Max. I'm here because of you, and it's been awesome.
Well, you know, Max and Stacy are always on the vanguard. So we started, actually, we found the video of Stacy talking about Bitcoin on Keiser Report back in 2010 when it was 30 cents. And then we started to cover it more heavily in 2011 when it was at $1. I'd say about 6 or 7 years ago, when a lot of people were saying, oh, you know, America's going to ban Bitcoin, or Russia or China are going to ban Bitcoin. I was like, no, they're not. They're going to be aggressively stacking Bitcoin once they figure out that it's impossible to ban Bitcoin. Yeah, and you know, our focus at the end of the year, and going to be 2025 as well, is El Salvador's got to keep stacking. You know, they just put another $1 million worth of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, on their strategic reserve. I think they're going to cross over 6,000 Bitcoin very soon, possibly in the next day or two. And the interim target is 20,000 Bitcoin. We got to get ahead of Bhutan. The way I look at it is Bitcoin per capita. So what is the Bitcoin per capita? Roughly, I did the math a couple of weeks ago, I haven't updated it, but roughly $500 or something like that. Bhutan is at $1,500. They've been mining hydro power for Bitcoin for a number of years, but they're also selling Bitcoin. I don't think they're necessarily thinking along the lines of having a Bitcoin strategic reserve. There's Stacy.
Hey, Stacy.
That's Satoshi. That's Satoshi. Stacy is Satoshi Nakamoto. I feel it's okay to reveal that now in 2025. That Stacy is in fact Satoshi, and she's got the $1 million Bitcoin wallet that everybody would like to have access to, but she's not going to give it up.
Doxing.
Yeah, I doxed my wife. What can I say? She's Satoshi Nakamoto. Let's get it out in the open.
What's your take on the IMF and that whole situation? How's it going to impact El Salvador? Are they going to stop stacking? Is it going to hurt the circular economy here? What's the Keiser take on all of this?
Well, it was a damp squib. You know, they came out and basically said nothing. It's the first pass I would have at what the IMF is talking about. They had nothing to say about Bitcoin status, their legal status. They made some kind of comment about not forcing people to use Bitcoin in transactions. Of course, that's not the case. People are not forced to use Bitcoin in transactions anyway. But nevertheless, people are accepting more and more Bitcoin because they want hardest money known in the history of humanity, and they want to stack sats, and they want individual sovereignty, they want Bitcoin sovereignty. And that's of course something the IMF has no idea about, because the IMF is what I call a financial terrorist organization, clearly. They're fiat money cucks. They have the SDR, which is a special drawing right, which is a fiat money catastrophe. It's going down to zero against Bitcoin. And those guys are not long for this world, because that institution will be disintermediated, just like all central banks and all bankers are going the way of the dodo, thanks to Bitcoin. Thank God for Bitcoin, because they're just centralized fiat money, proof of stake terrorists. And that's the best word to describe them, without a shadow of a doubt, terrorists. They think that they can print money and then influence other countries. What kind of sick fucks are these people? What kind of sick fucks are they?
Wherever the IMF has gone, it's kind of exploited countries. Will El Salvador suffer the same fate? Or how will it avoid the fate of the IMF coming into their world?
They're not in our world.
Gotcha.
There's some revolving credit line, and there's a discussion about, well, let's talk about the terms of this revolving credit line. Meanwhile, we're stacking sats in the billions and billions of dollars. It's like Austin Powers with Dr. Evil. It's like, ooh, he's Dr. Evil. Ooh, $1 billion. It's like, we're gonna have like $50 billion of Bitcoin, you crackheads. Get the fuck out of our way. How much would it take? I don't understand why we even give them the time of day. I guess because people are being polite. If somebody showed up at your party and they were drunk and off their ass on drugs and talking smack, sometimes you're polite. You're like, oh, hello, yes. And, kind of work them toward the exit and say, okay, bye. Their track record is atrocious. It's just the United Fruit Company all over again. It's colonialization all over again. Nobody's going to put up with it. I think we're just being polite. And, which is, the choice being made by those who are being polite to the IMF. But
you're not as diplomatic.
No, I'm not diplomatic at all. We're not here to lose. We're not here to kowtow to some fucking foreign assholes. No, that's not the game here. We're stacking sats aggressively. We'll stack sats more aggressively. We're thinking of new ways to stack sats every single day. That's what we do. We stack sats. The Bitcoin office, under the direction of Stacy Herbert, is kicking ass. They're bringing in the billionaires. They're bringing in the education programs. They're bringing in all the interest to stack more sats, okay? She's doing a brilliant job, and the Bitcoin office is really the model that the US needs to follow. So Donald Trump is saying, we want to stack sats like El Salvador. We want to be free like El Salvador. Well, in order to do that, you have to take Stacy Herbert's and the Bitcoin office playbook, and you have to take it to the US. But I don't think they're going to be able to do it as easily because they've got $60-70 trillion in debt if you add it all up. The current account deficits and the budget deficit and the unfunded liabilities and Medicaid and Social Security. It's like $60-70 trillion, and they're going to wave a magic Bitcoin wand and that's going to disappear according to those at the Trump administration. They're going to sell their 8,000 tons of gold in Fort Knox and they're going to buy Bitcoin. Okay, that's great, but it's not going to stop an immediate trashing of the dollar. Okay, Nick Carter, who's a long-standing Bitcoin OG, who writes brilliantly. He's in Washington, D.C. He's a close observer of what's going on there. Read his stuff. He makes the point that the dollar is going to get whacked hard if you decide that you're going to print dollars to buy Bitcoin. Okay, you're admitting that the dollar is worthless. At the same time, Russia is saying, we're going to start stacking sats, and they've got some of the cheapest energy in the world, and they've got no debt. Okay, so it's back to the space race of the 1960s. Like I predicted 7 years ago, it's going to be the global hash war. Russia is in a better position to win the global hash war right now than the United States is. Okay, El Salvador is in a fantastic position for Salvadorans who are going to benefit dollar for dollar, Bitcoin for Bitcoin, on the incredible improvement to the price of Bitcoin. Now here we are at HODL House, Mike Ruiz. As you can see, there's been some construction, right? So we're a few weeks away. We got to now move in all the furniture and stuff. But the basic building blocks are in place. I'll tell you a story about this stained glass window.
Okay.
I had a Salvadoran neighbor come over, and this is a very famous Salvadoran artist. And she came and she started touching it. She said, Jesus, 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 and then she started weeping. So I might turn this into a chapel.
Wow.
And allow the locals to come here and pray. I'm going to put Jesus and Satoshi Nakamoto.
Okay.
So that Salvadorans understand that Bitcoin is God and that we need to write the New Testament, which is the Bitcoin white paper.
Interesting.
Okay? Interesting?
Yeah, you get a lot of pushback on that take, Max?
I get a little, but I can defend that take flawlessly and brilliantly because
that would be an interesting conversation.
I am the bishop of Bitcoin. I am Satoshi's representative here.
I heard you were the high priest. That's right.
I am the high priest. This is where we're building the new HODL House studio. So we'll be doing new shows here, Orange Pill Podcast, Keiser Report, interviews, stuff like that. The kitchen is where I put personally the most work into the kitchen. This table in particular, so it's easy to walk around. They still have a working island in the kitchen to, I like to bake cakes and cookies and pies. I make a mean Boston cream pie.
Did not expect that from you, Max.
Keto version. I'm a big baker, really. I love to bake.
Okay.
That's the first thing you need. This is what civilization is based on, drinking coffee.
Caffeine, man.
That's
Being a fire?
Being a fire, we have an ample supply of being a fire. There was a divider here, but I took it out because I like the open space. Now that everyone says, well, it's dangerous, someone's gonna fall and kill themselves. I'm like, that's life,
Yeah, that's actually a trend I've seen here in El Salvador. No railing on the staircases.
That one, they try to have me put a railing, but I'm like, no way. So this is where our VIP guests will be staying with us when they visit El Salvador.
When's Alex Jones coming? That's what I want to know.
A couple of weeks.
Yeah? Awesome.
So El Salvador is Bitcoin country, and HODL House is the capital of Bitcoin country. This is the cosmic center of the Bitcoin universe. We radiate maximalism. So like when shitcoiners show up, ding, 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 we get the call at the airport. They've been spotted, they get tagged, they get followed, and then they get escorted back to the airport and shown their way out of the country as soon as possible. So no shitcoiners.
No shitcoin
No
capital.
shitcoiners. Yeah, so master bedroom here. You got another closet, walk-in closet area. This huge hallway, you can do something with it. I'm not sure. Michael Peterson, his place is incredible.
His place is amazing too.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's down in El Zonte, and he's been working on it for years. It's really incredible. So that's the beach, which can get very, very hot, as you know. Mm-hmm. And here in El Encanto, it's kind of between the beach and the city. The president always says that in El Salvador, you can get any weather you want, just change your altitude.
Yep.
So it's not about changing your attitude. It's about changing your altitude. This is, again, a few weeks away from like putting in the beds and stuff like that, but we're 90%.
I can see the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And one of the things that I noticed too, El Salvador's in short supply of housing right now. And so in order to grow this country, they're gonna have to, build up.
Totally. Well, they're building at a frantic pace.
Everywhere you go,
there's building, right?
Yeah, everywhere you go, there's construction. This is a country that you can tangibly see that's on the rise, that is being built in real time in front of your face.
Everywhere.
It's crazy.
Resident towers going up everywhere.
Yes.
They're building feverishly. Plus the president's upgrading all the infrastructure, all the roads, some hotels. They need about 6,000 hotel rooms right away because of the tourism is booming. It's up over 100%. And so the folks are coming here, and they really have a shortage of hotel rooms. So those are going up. There's a some kind of ordinance or law president put in place. If you have a tower that's above 30 stories or something like that, you get huge tax breaks or tax-free or something. I get the details, I'm not sure. Uh-huh. But the government is so proactive in attracting visitors, residents, businesses, and the president is basically one who believes in the forces of a market-driven economy.
Mm-hmm. It's very much obvious and apparent to us just on the amount of interest we're getting that El Salvador tourism is going to boom in 2025 and beyond. So this country is very much one on the rise.
Right, it's an exceptional country, it's an exceptional situation because they've already been through 40 years of hell. The Civil War and then the gang war. I see in the month of December they did not have a single homicide. And the year before Bukele took office, in the month of December, they averaged 10 homicides a day. It is the safest country in the hemisphere, and the goal for 2025 is to become the safest country in the world. So you're talking homicides per 100,000 of under 1, similar to, let's say, Liechtenstein or a country like that. So they're going zero tolerance for any homicides at all. And when you eliminate the fear of gangs, you open up entrepreneurialism, and you open up the faith in the market economics. And Salvadorans are naturally entrepreneurial. They're not like Europeans who are constantly looking for another handout. right? Europe is dying from socialism. The United Kingdom is dying from socialism. You know, socialism can find ways, just like shitcoins find their ways. Shitcoins are socialism, right? They print money and it's proof of stake. Proof of stake is socialism. Proof of work is capitalism. So the United States has to go out of the socialist proof of stake model, where the liberals and the Democrats were rewarding those who were pushing for war and pushing for white elephant, you know, projects, big dead end, you know, bridges to nowhere or tunnels to nowhere, all those projects, or the Ukraine-Russia conflict. That was just a huge money laundering operation, quite obviously. I don't think anyone doubts that now after they've seen the evidence. It's just $1 trillion transfer of wealth from US taxpayers to US politicians going through this fake war via Ukraine. You know, that'll be wrapped up soon. So that kind of hole in the bucket will be taped over. We won't be seeing that leakage of US taxpayer money to that ridiculous, nightmarish money laundering scheme anymore, hopefully soon. But, you know, again, I point out that Russia is really, I think, signaling that they're going to start stacking sats pretty hard here. The rumors are that you've got United Arab Emirates buying 200,000 or 300,000 Bitcoin. Russia can easily buy a couple 100,000 Bitcoin with their money. They could do a sailor. You know, Russia could, which has been loath to do debt for years. They could change their mindset and start doing some convertible offerings for assets and take that cash to buy Bitcoin. You know, Elvira, the head of their central bank, is a very smart, probably the smartest central banker in the world. I mean, somebody needs to get to her and explain how Russia can go from zero to king of the hill very quickly if they do a sailor on a sovereign level. You know, this is stuff I talk about here in El Salvador, and you know, it's these ideas that some of them work their way into getting considered on a serious basis.
Yeah.
Some of them are, you know, ignored, but you know, the point is to keep an open mind, because all the models, the sailor says, are broken. Every model of value evaluation and price discovery is being rewritten. The rules are being rewritten by Bitcoin. And this idea that dilution equals accretion, which is the sailor playbook, where we're going to take on more debt because and dilute our shares to infinity, because
is the first. So I've heard this thing where the first country that prints their currency to buy Bitcoin wins. Is that basically what you're
Well, that's what sailor is doing.
Yeah.
He's printing shares.
Yeah.
So he potentially could be the Bitcoin richest entity in the world. And so in the case of countries, we're going to look at MicroStrategy, and they're not going to be like, take that lying down. They're going to be like, you know what? Why should this guy have 200,000 or 300,000 Bitcoin or 500,000 Bitcoin? You know, well, we can acquire 500,000. So they're not going to be trying to ban Bitcoin. They're going to be trying to stack sats as aggressively as possible. As I said in 2018, 2019, I wrote about this.
What's the
a lot, and then this guy Pat Lowry, I forget his name, but he wrote
Jason Lowry.
Jason Lowry. He picked up on that theme. He was messaging me a lot, and blah blah blah. And then he came out with a book claiming, "Oh, I invented, you know, soft war or something." I'm like, "No, you're just repackaging what I've been saying now for years." He says, "Well, I acknowledge you in the book." I'm like, dude, I should be getting a cut of the proceeds from that book. You know, like that's plagiarism, dude. You know, but hey, it's all good. At the end of the day, we're all heading in the same direction, which is Bitcoin at, you know, $2, $3, $4 million of Bitcoin. So there's no time to.
So what's the 2025 Bitcoin price prediction then from Max Keiser?
Higher. You just keep going higher. I mean, don't look at price, look at hash rate. You know, price is a confusing signal in the Bitcoin world.
Yep.
Where hash rate gives you a clear signal. The clear signal from the hash rate is that the amount of money being dumped into the network is growing exponentially, and that's where you want to be. The price will be volatile. But if the hash rate wasn't going up, that would be something to look at. But it keeps going up. It hit a new all-time high recently. It just keeps going up because it's attracting all the energy in the world.
Let's end it on what's happening here in El Salvador in January.
Yeah, it's the Max and Stacy Invitational, January 10th and 11th. It's the high point of the social calendar and event calendar in El Salvador for the year. Like, we hit it in early January, and anything else that happens during the course of the year, it's going to struggle. The personalities, the celebrities, the OGs, the maximalists. We've got those folks, got some surprise guests. In my view, these Bitcoin conferences tend to be like some people on stage talking about some shit. Nobody bothers any attention to it. It's boring. And it's all in the back room schmoozing. So what we got rid of all the boring speeches on stage, and we just had the schmoozing. It's just a schmooze fest. That's all it is. You see, it's like the Allen Sun Valley annual conference of business titans to do deals. This is what we're striving for here at the Max and Stacy Invitational. It's just big players doing deals and reshaping the global economy in the image of Bitcoin. We sold out in 40 minutes, all the player tickets. And I know you guys are involved as well. Thank you very much.
Yep.
You're doing some media for us. We're going to be playing. You get a hole-in-one on 16, you win a whole Bitcoin worth about $98,000.
Wow.
Today it'll be worth probably $200,000 in another week or so. So yeah, I guess we wrap it up.
All right. Thank you, Max.
Thank you so much.
It's been awesome.
Michael, I see you have the official Bitcoin watch.
Yes, yes.
This is the watch hardcore Bitcoiners wear. It's the Casio?
It's a Casio.
G-Shock or Casio? Yeah. This is the most popular watch amongst terrorists in the world because of it's reliable, and you can set off a roadside improvisational exploding device with this watch for like $2. So if you need to blow some shit up, this is the watch to get. That's why it's so popular. So
I did not know that.
Oh,
All
yeah,
right.
definitely.
What's up, guys? We're back at the HQ, and if you enjoyed that conversation with Max and I, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And we have a part 2 where Max and I dive into some very interesting topics.
Most people tell me to shut the fuck up when I express
I'm curious more.
Now we're on God's doorstep. Now we're about to go into the Bitcoin singularity. That's what leads people down the path of alcoholism and drug addiction in many ways.
Make sure you subscribe. And if it's out already, you're gonna find a link in the description below. We'll see you there. Peace.